Hey, I'm Lagan, and if you're just starting out and feel like all this stuff with charts and decisions is complicated and confusing, trust me, you're not alone. Today I'm going to show you a simple example of one strategy we use in my community. I'll explain everything as clearly as possible, so that after your first watch, you'll get the main idea. And step by step, the logic will become even clearer. Maybe you'll be surprised how accessible it all really is. Watch closely, let's figure it out together. Let's go. Today, we're going to analyze the market with you. And for that, let's prepare our workspace. First of all, we will be using the MACD indicator with you. I set the settings as usual. I don't change them in any way. Then we move to a time frame of 5 seconds and an expiry time of 15 seconds. Let's get started. Here I open a position upwards and wait for the expiration time. I open a trade up here because the indicator and the chart direction indicate it to me. It's an obvious situation. Oh, that's great! After the downward price movement, a small correction has started and the corrective upward movement. I think it will continue for a while because the MACD indicator is pointing to it. Therefore, I open the position up and I'm waiting for the expiry time. Before we continue, here is something I've noticed. Many people who join my community start feeling more confident after just a few sessions. That makes sense because I regularly share entry points and everyone picks what works best for them at their own pace. If you want to learn more, the link's in the description. There you'll find all materials, all details about the community. I'll move on. Here we see a strictly downward movement. Because of this, I open a position down for the continuation of the downward movement and wait for the end of the trade. The indicator also highlights this to me. Great deal, folks! Here we could see downward price movement. This is the downtrend line, and also the downward movement of the indicator. Consequently, a downside position was opened and it ended perfectly. What are your thoughts on this deal? Write it in the comments whether you would have opened it. And I will move on. Here we see the beginning of the upward movement on the indicator and on the price chart respectively. Therefore, I open the position upwards and expect the upward movement to continue, waiting for the expiration time and the result of the trade. It was pretty close to our entry point, but it ended well. We see here that after a strong downward movement, an upward movement has begun, which is highlighted by our indicator. I'm moving on. I see some indefinite movement on the indicator here. Let's move on to the next set. Here I will open a position down because it's indicated by the price chart and confirmed by the MACD indicator. The time will now come to an end and I will give more details about the situation. It was a pretty risky deal. It closed right near the entry point, but it closed successfully. You may have noticed the beginning of the downward movement on the indicator, as well as the downward movement on the chart. Because of this, a position was opened on the downside, but the market was volatile. Therefore, we should pay attention to the red histogram, which indicates a downward impulse. And as you can see, it happened. In my community, we use tools that have proven their effectiveness. This kind of clarity helps you make decisions based on data and a solid system, not luck. Even if you are new, you can follow tested any points thanks to clear and easy to follow guidance. And if you feel ready to give it a try, click the link in the description and join the community. Moving on, here we see an upward price movement according to the indicator and the chart. Excellent entry point. Open the position up and wait for the expiry time. Great entry point, friends! We see a strong upward movement of the indicator and also an upward movement of the price. As a result, I open an upward position in the direction of this movement. That's all I had to do. I will move on. Here we see a similar situation. So here I open a position down and wait for the end of a trade, as the trend movement is also directed downwards. Great, the transition is successful, similar to the previous one. Only here we have a downward movement, and here it's up. And the situations themselves are very similar. The market is really happy today, don't you think? Moving on, what we see here is that we have a downward movement. It is over, and the indicator indicates the continuation of the upward movement. Let's give it a try. most important thing is that we saw a rise here, followed by a correction. That is, this growth, correction, and further upward price movement is planned. It's a good situation to enter. Let me move on. Here we see a rather uncertain situation on the indicator and on the chart. So I'm moving on again. What we see here is that the corrective downward movement is over. The MACD indicator further indicates that there could be a continuation of the trend movement. And so I open a position up and wait for the time of the operation. Good result. We've seen the downward movement. Let's take a closer look. There was an upward movement followed by a small correction. This is where we might have spot error. After that, the upward movement started again. We got him good. Good job. Let's pick another asset. Here we see a strong movement, and according to the trend I open a position down. Because trend is our friend, as we know. So I open a position down and wait for the expiration time. The indicator just confirmed it. We're seeing a downtrend here. All this time the indicator is below the zero mark. I mean below this line. And this is a confirmation of the downward momentum. And that's why I opened the position down, and quite successfully. In my opinion, the biggest value of the community is its clear structure and straightforward approach. Every day I share several entry points so thousands of members can follow my steps and track this progress. I always break down the process live and in details. This is how people in my community get real improvements. If you are ready to try and learn more, check the link below. There is plenty to help beginners. Actually, now let me move on. Here too, I see a downward movement on the indicator and on the chart. So I open a position down and wait for the expiry time, as this strategy is sharpened to use only trends and movements. We had a downtrend confirmed by an indicator. And in fact, we took an open position on this trend. Good job, folks. Good result in one session. What do you think? Great, that's it for today. If you liked my approach and found the strategy interesting, chances are you'll want to try it out yourself. So head over to the link in the description. There are already over 15,000 people in my community moving forward with a clear system and a solid guidance. Don't put it off. Maybe this step will be the start of your new path. See you inside.